Hi, I'm Dr. Rich Blana, and welcome to the 22nd edition of the Healthy Stress Doctor podcast. In this edition, I'm going to introduce mindfulness. And mindfulness is a key element of acceptance and commitment therapy and my approach to helping people cope with stress. And if you subscribe to my free newsletter, the Healthy Stress newsletter, you'll see that in this edition and then in the next 3 editions, I'm going to talk about mindfulness in detail. And in this edition, there's a real helpful informal mindfulness training activity that I'd like to share with you. So if you already are not receiving the free Healthy Stress newsletter, you can sign up. Just send me an email at the address below this YouTube video, and I'll put you on the mailing list, and you can start to receive your free monthly e-newsletter as well as this podcast. Anyway, mindfulness, I guess mindfulness can best be described as moment-by-moment awareness. And this way of defining mindfulness really emphasizes the key aspect of being mindful of the present moment. And mindful moments are unique in that they have 4 dimensions. The first dimension of a mindful moment is that it's present-centered. The second dimension of a mindful moment is that it's non-judgmental. The third dimension is that it's nonverbal. And the fourth dimension of mindful moments is that they're non-conceptual. So let me explain what each of these dimensions means. So present-centered, what does that mean? What I mean by present-centered is that the mindful moment always stays focused on the present and never strays to the past or the future. When you are being mindful of the present moment, you notice what's going on in your mind and in your body and in the environment in the present moment. And when you start to practice either informal or formal mindfulness, you'll begin to notice when your mind shifts out of the present moment and goes to the past or the future. And that's really one step removed from the present moment when you're thinking about the past or projecting into the future. Now, when you start to practice mindfulness, you'll notice this, and then you'll just catch yourself, and you'll shift your attention back to the present moment and your thoughts and feelings about what's going on in the present moment in your mind and in your body and in the environment around you. So that's what I mean by mindful moments are present-centered. Nonverbal means that mindful moments do not involve talking. Mindful moments are silent moments when the only talk going on is your self-talk. And your self-talk is also known as your subvocal speech. And it's really what you say to yourself about things that you are thinking about. When you verbalize and you write or write down your mindful moments and your subvocal self-talk, then you actually add another layer of interpretation which kind of removes you and distances you from the present moment. So anytime the nonverbal self-talk becomes verbalized or written down, it really adds another level of interpretation and distance. Non-judgmental mindful moments, what that really means is that a mindful moment is just a moment in which you notice things. You don't judge them or evaluate them or compare them against some kind of standard. When you're being mindful in the present moment, you notice what is going on in your body and your mind and in the environment around you, but you don't judge it or evaluate it. For example, if you're practicing mindful meditation and your thoughts have drifted into the past or into the future, what you would say to yourself would be something like this. How interesting. My thoughts have drifted off the present moment and onto that argument I had with my wife earlier in the morning. I'll get to those thoughts later. Right now, I'm going to shift my attention back to what's going on in my body and in the immediate environment. So I wasn't judging that my mind was being interfered with. I just accepted it, noticed it, accepted it, and shifted back to the present moment. And then last, by non-conceptual, I mean that mindful moments are not moments in which you try and solve any problems or figure anything out or work on anything. During a mindful moment, you merely notice what's going on and then you accept it for what it is. You don't try and work on it at all. Now you can improve your mindfulness and develop mindfulness either informally through informal mindfulness training or formally. By informal mindfulness training, I mean anything you can do that helps you increase your awareness of what's going on in the present moment. And as I said, in this month's edition of the Healthy Stress newsletter, I have an activity called Mindful Trail Mix Eating, where I focus on something as simple as eating a handful of trail mix in a more mindful manner. Now, formal mindfulness training, however, really requires dedication to practicing mindful meditation, and it would involve a daily practice of mindful meditation for at least 30 minutes for 8 weeks. And once you get past that 8-week threshold, you start to really appreciate really what mindfulness is all about. So again, I urge you to sign up to the Healthy Stress newsletter by sending me an email to the address that's listed below. And hopefully you'll start reading the newsletter, and the next 4 issues are all about mindfulness. And if you don't do that, I look forward to working with you next month through the podcast. Thanks.